Good Sunday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to EO Sports Network. This is going to be a fun broadcast. It's something we've been looking forward to for a while right here. Want to give a big thanks to Tabletop Sports Delaware saying, "Hiya, Elon. Well, let's take this baby out for a spin, shall we?" I couldn't have said it better myself. There, Tabletop Sports Delaware. Right now, we're just kind of putting the finishing touches on all of this. Give me one moment. I couldn't have said it better. There we go. Sound's working. All right. So we're going to be bringing you Milan San Remo. And in about 5 to 10 minutes, we will be joined by my very special guest, my brother, via Zoom. He's going to join us from Louisiana. And I'm just going to go ahead and make this kind of the screen. That way you guys aren't seeing everything that's going on there. So it's going to be a really, really fun broadcast, a really, really awesome broadcast. We're going to be using Cycling Road Race by our friend Roberto Chiavini over in Italy. If you're seeing this, man, nothing but positive vibes and hopes towards you and your family. Hoping that everything is going good for you over there, as of course things are definitely things are definitely a little bit difficult for our friends in Italy right now, and that's where we are for this race, Milan San Remo. Hopefully in about a few minutes, my brother, who's a former cycling super fan, well, he's a super fan, but he's a former cyclist himself, he's going to be joining us, giving us some color commentary, just kind of giving you an idea what we're going to do. This is the first of what's called the 9 Spring Classics. These are the races that kind of set the stage for the big races that we all know, such as the Tour de France, I'm going to turn that down a little bit. I think I'm blowing out my speakers. The Tour de France, the Giro d'Italia, and the Volta a España. So it's going to be a lot of fun to just kind of do these races. We're going to be using the 2019 set from Mr. Chiavini. I hope I'm saying that right. This is a cards and dice game, as you can see. And let me get my ball roller out here. Ready to go. I'm actually going to make it to where you guys can see that as well. There we go. Ball roller. Actually, let's put it over here so it's not in the way of the teams or of the players. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of go through a little bit of the rules. So if you guys watched me do my game or my short little preview of the Tour de France, then one second, let's make these the D6s. Sorry, I just installed it on this particular computer. So let's only do one D6 and then the D10s. There we go. Save. All right, let's roll to test that out. Yep, you guys can see it perfectly. All right. Anyway, this game is completely different from the Grand Tour game because I actually, quite frankly, like the way this resolves a little bit better than the multi-day stage race does. Because I always thought the multi-day stage race was a little bit too much in favor of the guys in the middle of the pack instead of the front of the pack, like what you'd hope. This one, everyone has an equal chance, and you'll get to see that. Let's go ahead and look at our routes for this one. Let me text my brother, figure out how much longer he's going to be. So let's actually make this picture a little bit bigger so you guys can really see it. All right, so the race starts in Milano. It's 291 kilometers, excuse me. They're going to come around on this route right here. There's a little bit of a hill right here, and then the big kicker up here. This is a category. Does not say what the category is on that one. But then there's a steep drop, and then it's rolly, flat, more rolling hills into the final climb, and then down into the finish in San Remo. Kind of give you a look at what the finish line traditionally looks like, and there it is right there. Packed house in the middle of town. As I mentioned, this is the first race that people really get to kind of see, who is going to be on board for the Tour de France, who's going to be on form there. All right, my brother says he's getting his computer now, and he's going to be able to tell you a whole lot more about this race than I can. We're going to bring you some truly expertise going on here. Where is that? Okay. Let's see if I can get this going right now. Sorry about the delay, folks. Again, a big thank you to Tabletop Sports Delaware. Before we get really going, if you're watching live, pop in the chat room. Let us know who you are so we know who's watching so we can give you your proper due for tuning in. Definitely really appreciate all of the support that we have gotten from each member of the FOC. It really has been a blessing to know that there are indeed people out there that feel the same way we do about sports and how we're hoping to come in. Amish Gaming, first time seeing a cycling race, so this may be interesting. You know, it's a lot more than meets the eye, as you'll find out when we get going with all of the stuff that happens throughout this. It really is a lot more than what meets the eye. Let's go ahead and, as we're waiting for my brother to show up. So we got Tabletop Sports Delaware, Amish Gaming joining us on the channel on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Italy. You and I would go for a Sunday stroll on these bikes, but not these guys. It's going to be hard. As we mentioned, it's a very hilly race. Among the favorites, let's talk about them. First, we've got Team Bora right here. And they contain Peter Sagan, Daniel Oss, Sam Bennett, Jeppe Drucker, Marcus Berghardt, and Oscar Gatto. And it looks like my brother's ready to join us on Zoom. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the next voice you're going to hear is my brother, who is a cycling expert, and he can explain this a lot better than I can. Laird, welcome to EOSN.
Thanks, it's good to be here.
Well, Laird, it's definitely going to be a fun race. Tell us a little bit about Milan San Remo and what are the meaning behind this race and the next 8 races.
So Milan San Remo is usually, traditionally it began as the first big race of the year, but as the cycling calendar has evolved and progressed throughout the years, is a lot more races have taken its place. It's called the race to. It's called the La Primavera, is what it's called, affectionately known as. Oh wow.
It's okay. First broadcast, folks. We're going to have to give them a little bit of encouragement. We got Tabletop Sports Delaware and Amish Gaming joining us in the chat room. Anyone else out there, join us on the thing.
Are we live?
We are live, dude. This is live broadcast.
This is pre-recorded.
Nope, this is live broadcast. So go ahead and take a deep breath. Calm yourself. Got to remember, everybody, he's not an experienced YouTube broadcaster like everybody in the chat room. But Laird, take a deep breath, and let's go ahead and try that again. So Milan San Remo, it's the first of the 9 spring classics. So go ahead and tell us what that is.
So it's more than just a spring classic. It's basically called a monument. It's a race that started way back in I believe it was 1907, I think. So it's been over 100 years. It has been around. Over 100 editions have been raced. First winner was a Frenchman, Lucien Piet-Breton, but the one with the most wins, of course, is the great Fernando Gaviria win, or you can have someone that's not known for sprinting at all, like, I don't know, his countryman Nairo Quintana, if you wanted to give it a shot at it. But the one thing that is more important than anything is how you descend off those climbs. Those climbs, they're not very steep, but those descents, they are very twisty and turny. You see a lot of people crash on them when the race gets hot and heavy.
So I was just notified that we had a temporary technical difficulty. We had to make some tweaks, but we should be good to go now. Laird, just real quick before we get started, recap what you were saying about Milan San Remo and how this can kind of be a preview of what's to come.
So, like I said, a lot of riders that win here tend to have pretty good seasons. Last year, Julien Alaphilippe won this race, went on to have a great season, went on to have an amazing Tour de France later that last year. Like I said, a lot of times people have identified this as a sprinter's monument, but it's not that way anymore. A lot of times the attacks are going off on the Poggio in the finale, and then they just take that group down through the descent, because after you go through the Poggio, it's all downhill, and then it's like, as you can see on there, it's less than, let's see, the top of the Poggio is 200 kilometer 285, and then 6 kilometers later, you're at the finish.
Real quick, want to apologize for the technical difficulty we had. We were overworking the CPU. We've got those settings fixed now as we are all green light. Thank you for the heads up. Tabletop Sports Delaware says we're good now. So again, a big thank you to you for kind of keeping an eye on that for us. All right, so Laird, I think let's go ahead and give the people what they want. They want to see a race. What do you say we do it?
Let's do it.
All right, so we are bringing this race to you with Roberto Chiavini's cycling road race game. You can find this game on his personal webpage, or not his personal webpage, but his webpage on the Field of Dreams website. A great resource for all the replay gamers out there. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we do is and I wasn't able to put pictures of the charts on the sheet, but first thing you do is you roll on what's called the breakaway table. You roll 1d6. We got the red right here representing. Can you see that, Laird? The dice roller right here, where my mouse is.
Your mouse is on a picture of Tom Boonen and Filippo Pozzato.
Okay, that's not where it's at. Let me see if I can make it to where you are able to see that. Apologies, guys. First time we've done this, so we're gonna be. Let's see. Can you point on screen, content, files? Okay. You know what? This is the first time I've ever done anything, a shared broadcast via Zoom, so there are some hiccups. Tabletop Sports Delaware says he can see the dice roller, so that's really all that matters for the people. So first thing you do is you're going to roll on what's called the breakaway table. Let me read the results. You roll 1d10, so that'll be these blue dice right here. We're going to look on the outside blue dice. A 0, no breakaway. The race is resolved by a sprint, which we'll go into if that happens. 1 through 6, 1d6 racers breakaway. 4 through 5, 2d6 racers breakaway. 6 through 7, 3d6 racers breakaway. 8, 4d6 racers breakaway. And 9, 5d6 racers breakaway. So, first things first, keep an eye on that outside blue, and away we go. We got a 4, so that'll be 2d6 racers breakaway. So the first one, the red is the d6, so the first roll is a singular racer. So only one guy is going to be in the first part of the breakaway. And now let's see who the next roll will be. 3. So only a 4-person breakaway, Laird, as we are into the early stages of this one. This is kind of the base group. This is the beginning of 5 sequences. All right, so we got 4 racers. Now the next thing we do is we roll on the composition table. We roll 1d100 for every racer, and it'll give us a range. That range will give us a team classification. Real quick, let's go through our team classifications. In Class A for Milan San Remo, we've got Bora, Quickstep, Dimension Data, AG2R Le Mondale, and Team Jumbo. In Class B, we've got Sunweb, Bahrain Merida, Astana, Sky, Education First, Katusha Alpecin. Hopefully I said that right. Probably didn't. You'll have to correct me, Laird. UAE and Mitchelton Scott. Class C, we have Israel Cycling Academy, Movistar, one of my personal favorites, Direct Energy, FDJ, Cofidis, Lotto Sudal, Adrani, Triple C, and Trek Segafredo. In Class D, we have Nuri Satoli, Novo Nordisk, and Bardiani. Hopefully I said that right. Laird. All right, so just off the top of your head, before we get started, who is your favorite to win the fictional 2020 Milan San Remo?
Well,
this is the 2019 set, if that gives you an idea.
Oh, this is the 2019 set?
This is the 2019.
Alaphilippe.
Julian Alaphilippe from Team Quickstep. He is a Class A team. So let's find out what's about to happen. So we'll roll on the 2D D10s. This is our tens column. This is our digits column. And away we go. We roll a 15. That is going to be a Class A team. So that means it will either be a rider from Bora Quickstep, which Julian Alaphilippe is from, Dimension Data, AG2R Le Mondale, or Team Jumbo. Laird, you're looking for a roll of 21 through 40, and that'll be Quickstep. Here we go, and we roll again. It's 86, so that means it is a rider from Team Jumbo. So now we'll go to Team Jumbo and roll on their team, another D100, and that will tell us who from Team Jumbo it is. Laird, Team Jumbo, who stands out on that team? We've got Wout van Aert, Mike Tennyson, Amon Grandal Johnson, Jos van Emden, and Dylan Groenewegen. I know who you're going to talk about. Taco van der Hoom and Danny Van Poppel.
I know you say I'm going to talk about Dylan Groenewegen, but this is the only time I'm ever going to say his name. Actually, the one that stands out the most to me is, in fact, Wout van Aert. He is an amazing rider, amazing all-around rider, former multi-time cyclocross world champion, made the move over to the road, and he's just been amazing. Last year at the Tour de France, he ended up winning a stage. He was the national champion of the individual time trial as well, so that just gives you an idea of his versatility. Got a really good sprint. He can climb very well with the guys in the classics. He's a lot of people have tagged him as a star of the future for the Northern Classics, so the Cobble Classics, Paris-Roubaix, and Tour de France. But this is also a good race for him too, so I picked Wout van Aert as their leader for this. But going into that breakaway, I don't know if he would go into that breakaway. I don't see the breakaway making it. I don't see the breakaway making it until maybe a breakaway being formed on maybe the Cipressa or the Poggio at the end, like I said.
So one thing that I think you need to realize, Laird is not experienced in replay games, so sometimes it's not going to tell us where the breakaway happened. But this is a group of riders that have a chance to win. Let's get to the breakaway, and then I'll tell you what happens next. All right, so your rider for Team Jumbo is...
Wout van Aert.
84, so Jumbo, 84, that is going to be Jos van Emden. So he is in the breakaway for Team Jumbo. Jos van Emden. Did I say that right?
Yes, Jos van Emden. He's a Belgian rider on that team, but he's definitely one that's actually had some what am I looking for? Word I'm looking for. Just had some success. He's a successful professional rider. I mean, he's definitely been up there. So I definitely think Going back over his results, I saw that he's won the last major race he won was actually the Chrono des Nations, which is a time trial which is a unique 1 day time trial event that was last year. He's been on Lotto and El Jumbo for the past. Sorry, I'm looking him up. I know who he is. I'm just getting on his head. He's been on Lotto and El Jumbo actually ever since 2008, back when they were Rabobank. So he's up there. 35 years old, definitely a time trialist. So he's probably there just to be out of an opportunity that was created.
Don't mean to cut you short, Laird, but we do have the team for the second rider. That is a rider from AG2R. We're going to move along fairly quickly. We'll give you your chance to talk about each and every rider after that. It is Roman Bardet in the breakaway there for AG2R. And Laird, I know you've got a lot to say about this guy, but let's hold off a little bit longer until we've got our group established here. Here comes group number 3. It's a 9. That's going to be Bora. And 88 on Bora, that is Marcus Berghardt. So, real quick, Laird, are any of these names currently surprising you?
Roman Bardet getting into the break surprises me.
So right now we've got a breakaway full of A-team members. Marcus B. Urghardt. Gonna set this entire thing real quick. I set this up last night, so the formatting may be a little bit off. All right, and our final team member, 04. That's another Bora team member. 66 Bora, Sean Bennett. So, Laird, there are our first 4 guys. You've got Marcus Berghardt and Sean Bennett for Team Bora. Roman Bardet for AG2R, and Jos van Emden for Team Jumbo. First of all, I get a lot of people asking me questions about, hey, so what's the deal with this team thing? Laird, really quick, give us a crash course on why there are teams in cycling and what do they do.
First, could I ask, are you sure it's not Sam Bennett?
You know, you might be right. I'm double-checking that right now. It is Sam Bennett. It is Sam Bennett. My apologies.
Sean Bennett rides for Education First, an American rider new on the scene. Sam Bennett, however, that is the plan for Bora, since if that's what they're going for.
Big thank you to Amish Gaming and Tabletop Sports Delaware for joining us on this broadcast today. Well, Laird, real quick, crash course, team cycling. What is it good for?
A good one. Honestly, the old adage goes, cycling is an individual sport practiced by teams. What you do is you pick the guy that's your leader, and then everybody works for him, whether that be taking turns at the front, getting into breakaways so your teammates don't have to take turns in the front, setting up the lead out, all that kind of different stuff.
So when you see 2 teammates in a break like this, what is the idea for Bora with Marcus Berghardt and Sam Bennett in on that breakaway?
Berghardt is there to help Bennett win.
That's simple. All right, step 1. So this is step 1 of 5, I believe. Hold on, let me double check it real quick. How to play. Okay, so this is step 1. Step 5 is the race to the finish line. All right, step 1. So what we'll do now is first we roll 1d10 on each one of these riders. And it's the reason why I have AAAA next to their team names is because that's the class team they are. That's where they have to go. So if you are an A team, in order to remain with this group, the rider needs to roll 0 through 8, 9 or 10, and they're dropped. And that's the end of their race. All right. And then after each step, we will roll on what's called the latecomers table. and we'll go into more of that later. First up, Jos van Emden. We're looking at this outside blue number right here. We want it 0 to 8. Here we go. And it's 1. So Jos van Emden staying with the group. Now we'll roll on Roman Bardet. Same one. It's a 4, so he's still there. On to Marcus Berghardt. Same thing. 5, he's still there. Sam Bennett. 2, so all 4 riders still looking very, very good in step 1. And strong. Laird, you mentioned that Roman Bardet was one that surprised you a little bit. Care to explain why?
Well, because Roman Bardet can't. This isn't his type of race. He's more built for the Grand Tours. The guy's finished on the podium of the Tour de France twice, meaning he's been top 3 there. So that's surprising. He's not very well known for his descending, but maybe he's got a surprise plan today.
All right, so now we'll go ahead and roll on the late comers chart, meaning these are guys that may try to cross the gap. All right, we roll 1d6. If it's a 1, no one is added. If it's a 2, you roll 1d10. On a 1 to 3 result, you add 1 racer to the breakaway. If it's a 3, you add 1d6. On a 1 to 7 result, you add 1 racer to the breakaway. If it's a 4, you add 1d6 minus 2 racers to the breakaway as 0 as possible. 5, 1d6 minus 1 racers as 0 as possible. And 6, a 1d6 worth of racers. Here we go. Keep an eye on that red one and the roll. We've got a 4, so that is 1d6 minus 2. So we'll roll it again. It's a 5, so we have 3 additional racers being added to this group. 6, 7. So 3 additional racers being added to this group. So, Laird, let's find out who they are. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right, so keep an eye on the blue dice. Here we go. 1 through 50. A 99. That's going to be a Class D racer. So a Class D team, that'll be a team from either Neri Sotole, Norvo Nordisk, or Bardiani. The roll. It is Neri Sotole. Laird, am I saying that right?
Let's see, Nettie's. I don't see them on.
Sorry. I forgot to add them to my team list. Neri. Sotoli. I do not think I had them on here. So
that is, yeah, you're pronouncing that correct as far as I know.
All right, so that is a Class D team. We'll send a racer up the road to join the group. Make sure it's in there as a D. Okay. Laird, you don't know anything about this team, I'm guessing?
I know they're an Italian team, an Italian continental team that got here on a wild card. So they're definitely wanting to show face and prove to the organizers that they did deserve this wild card. So they're trying to be in that final part of the race.
All right, let's roll and find out who it's going to be. Keep an eye on the blue dice. 67. 67. That is going to be Sebastian Schronberger. Does that name ring a bell, Laird?
Possibly, but I'm not 100% sure.
Schronberger. Probably didn't spell it right, but oh well. All right, now on to our next one. Roll the dice, roll the dice, roll the dice. It is an 11. So that means it is going to be a Class A rider. So looking at Class A teams that doesn't have anyone up there, Quick Step, Dimension Data are the only 2 that don't have a rider up there. So you may see some teammates for Jos van Emden or Roman Bardet.
Before it gets up there, everyone's in trouble.
91, that is going to be another Jumbo rider. So Jumbo, not wasting any time getting Jos van Emden some help. It's a 24, Jumbo. Wout van Aert. I don't think Jos van Emden is getting help. I think Van Emden is helping Wout van Aert.
That's exactly what happened. What they did is they did a strategy called putting satellite riders into the early break. What they're doing is they put Jos van Emden in the early break, so no one on Jumbo-Visma or Lotto NL Jumbo is now they're called, had to chase down this break. And as soon as the time came for Walt Van Aert to cross the gap, he crossed the gap. Now he's all of a sudden he doesn't have to do any work anymore either because he's got Jos Van Emden right there.
So this will be very interesting. Laird, of these 6 riders, who's the favorite to win it at this point?
Like I said before, Walt Van Aert.
Wout van Aert. Okay.
Oh, possibly Sam Bennett, but Walt Van Aert would be my pick out of the 6 so far, unless Julian Alaphilippe comes across as the 7th rider.
And the 7th rider is going to be from it's going to be a B team. So Sunweb, Bahrain Merida, Astana, Sky, Education First, Katusha, Mitchelton Scott, and UAE are your B-rated teammates. Our teams. Let's find out who it is. Sunweb. So Sunweb sending a man up the road. Make sure I get that logo out there. Or the uniform, I guess you could say. B-rated team. It's a 16 on Sunweb. So let's find out who that is. Tom Dumoulin coming up the road to join the group. And Laird, we said that this may not be a who's who of Tour de France riders, but I got news for you. Romain Bardet, Tom Dumoulin, those are guys that could win the Tour de France.
They're both guys that have finished second in the Tour de France before too as well. Tom Dumoulin kind of surprised me. Maybe he's just trying to get some confidence for the Tour later on this year. But as great of a rider he is, this is not his type of race. Honestly, I think Walt Van Aert coming across his gap might have just been the winning move right off the bat.
And we've got step 2 of 5 done. Or 1 of 5 done. Now we go to step 2. First, of course, we'll roll to see who's staying and if anyone's going. Remember, on A's, it's 1 through 8. On B's, it is 1 through 7. D's, 0 through 5. So, first let's roll on Jos Van Emden. A. 0 through 8, outside blue die. It's a 9. Oh no! Van Emden's dropped. Jos Van Emden has just been dropped. Did not see that coming, Laird Olive.
That was a little bit too far for him there. I'm not surprised that he was dropped, but he did his job. He got Walt Van Aert into this final breakaway.
If it is indeed the final breakaway. My goodness, Laird, I did not see that coming. Let's check up on Romain Bardet. 8. I think he's out. I got to double check this real quick. 8. He's barely in there. He barely hangs on.
Yeah, Romain Bardet at the end of this little acceleration that got rid of Van Emden, he is barely holding on there at the back. But it's because it's on a flatter terrain. He doesn't prosper very well on the flat terrain. Not a great time trialist. That's why I wouldn't be surprised though Tom Dumoulin doesn't stay pretty strong in this group after this.
Marcus Burghardt, 0 through 8. 0, so he's good. So he hangs on, no problem. Sam Bennett, same situation for Bora. 6, he's in there. Sebastian Schronberger from Neri Sotoli with German a Class D, 0 through 5. Ooh, this could be bad. Checking it out. It's a 2, so he hangs on, no problem. Wout van Aert, he lost his teammate. Is he going to hang on? Yeah, yes. Easily. 0. Tom Dumoulin, 0 through 7 is what we're looking for. Oh, he barely hangs on. It's a 7. So Dumoulin barely hangs in there. Now let's go ahead and roll on the latecomers chart. Then we do this for step 1, 2, 3, and 4. After step 4, we go straight to the sprint, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Latecomers, 1d6. Keep an eye on that red one. Here we go, the roll. It's a 2. So roll 1d10, 1 through 3, add 1 racer to the breakaway. So the max only 1. Keep an eye on the outside blue. Big thank you to Tabletop Sports Delaware and Amish Gaming for joining us. It's a 0, so no one is joining this breakaway. That is step 2 of 5 right there. Laird, still like Wout van Aert.
I still like Wout van Aert, but it makes me a little bit nervous that no one was able to bridge that gap. That peloton must be chasing hard if no one's able to has the energy to come across the gap.
All right, let's go ahead and roll for step 3 of 5. Romain Bardet, you're looking for 0 of 8 on the outside blue. 0 to 8. Excuse me. Here we go. 3. He's good. Same thing with Marcus Burghardt. 4. He's hanging on. Sam Bennett. 2. He's in there, no problem. Sebastian Strongberger. 0 through 5 is what we're looking for him. And he can't hang on. He's dropped out the back. Good showing there, though, for the Neri Satoli rider. Wout van Aert, Laird's favorite. 0 through 8. It's a 3. No problem. Tom Dumoulin. 0 through 7. It's a 2. Hangs on. Not a problem there. Wout van Aert, Tom Dumoulin with Romain Bardet. That sounds like 3 names that we could be talking about deep into this season when we get to the Tour de France later on.
Well, definitely Wout van Aert for stage wins, but Romain Bardet and Tom Dumoulin possibly for the overall.
All right, now we'll go ahead and roll on the latecomers table. 1d6, so keep an eye on the red die. It's a 4, and that is add 1d6 minus 2. Okay. 4, so 2 more racers will join. We're going back to a 7-man group towards the end of this race. All right. Rolling. It's a 25. That is a Class A team. So another Class A team gets a chance. Laird, the move you've been waiting on all day is from Julian Alaphilippe from Quickstep. He's a Class A team member. Quickstep, the 21 through 40 rating on our range. Here we go. Roll 28. So guess what? Quickstep is sending a man up to the breakaway. Copy. Paste. And the roll on Quickstep's team table, it's a 70. That means we will be seeing Quickstep 70. One second, just got to make sure I get this right. Yves Lampart.
Yves Lampart,
thank you. Check this name out. YVESLAM.
Peart.
Peart, exactly. You thought hockey names were difficult, folks. Amish Gaming, dumb question. No dumb questions here. But are the steps a single day or is this the full race? So this whole race takes place in one day. So the steps, I guess, is kind of to simulate getting through certain amounts of the race. So this race itself is 291 kilometers. So let's say step 1 takes place at about here, steps 2 here. It's just a random thing. It just kind of simulates the fact that you're going to have people go yo-yoing back and forth from the peloton, which is what they call the main group in professional cycling, the main pack, and the breakaway up the road. Isn't that correct, Laird?
Yeah, this is a one-day race, so don't worry about asking if this is a multiple stage event. Everyone knows the Tour de France. A lot of people think that every bike race is like that. No, the Tour de France is one of only 3 races that are 3 weeks long like that. So, but today we're just doing a one-day race, and that's why a lot of the risks are being taken because in a multiple-day stage race, like you'll see, people will be using strategy. Okay, I can lose 10 seconds here if I can gain a minute over here. Today, they're going all out because there is literally no tomorrow for it.
Absolutely. Philip Reynolds joining us. Philip, you have been fastly becoming one of our most consistent viewers. He says, cycling, definitely something different. You know, I'm excited to do different things. Like I could talk about the Olympic project I'm going to be working on. By the way, we do have the dates for that. That is going to be kicking off. Let me get a calendar so I get it right. It's going to be kicking off Friday, May 29th. So May 29th is when we're going to kick off the Olympics in Tokyo. We'll be using Roberto Chiavini's games. By the way, this very same game is how we also will resolve the road race for both the men's and the women's. Laird, you're welcome to join me on that if you'd like. If any of you guys out there are experts in sports or feel confident talking about it, hit me up in the Discord or in the chat, anything like that. I would love to have some co-commentators. I love the collaboration and just the knowledge that other people can bring. All right, Laird, let's go ahead and see who the final racer in this group will be at the end of step 3. 11. That's going to be another A-rated team.
It'd be funny if Yves Lampard was just doing all this to bring out Philippe into this thing.
Right. And the roll. It's a 12.
Got
I
those
think
in.
that's Bora. And I think there's only one person that you could bring up from Bora, wouldn't you say?
Uh-oh.
Unless Daniel Oss decides to go off. Let's find out.
Uh-oh.
It's a 16. Guess who's coming up the road, Laird?
Is it Sagan?
It's Peter Sagan, the world champion, and he just became the favorite to win this whole thing, wouldn't you say? This late in the race, too.
This race has been his weakness. He has always been in a good position to win this, but somehow something happens where he has not been able to make it happen. But 3-time world champion, no one's ever in a row. No one's ever done that before, by the way. Not even Eddie Merckx. But he's in the best. He is now in the best possible position he has ever been to win Milan San Remo, which would be his 3rd monument.
Yeah. And when we talk about monuments, what are the monuments?
So the monuments are the great one-day races in cycling. So first, this is the first monument of the year. The Milan San Remo. Then after that, you have Tour of Flanders, Paris-Roubaix. Those races are on cobbled roads. So you're racing over cobblestones. I'm pretty sure Elon's going to want to do those races sometime later on.
We're doing all the classics. We're doing all 9 of them. So actually, we were going to save this till the end, but real quick, let's answer a question from Philip Reynolds. So who makes this game? This is called Cycling Road Race by Roberto Chiavini. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. If not, I apologize. Anyway, he does a bunch of the games that are different, as you said earlier. He does cycling, he does rugby, he does tennis, he does all the Olympic set that we're doing is coming specifically from Roberto Chiavini. So this is the game for the one-day race. The one for the stage races are different, but I am going to take and kind of hybrid the two because I really like some things from this game. Laird, you are a cycling super fan. What do you think about this kind of game engine and just kind of what we're seeing unfold before us as we roll the dice?
It's definitely interesting. I was a little skeptical if this would end up being realistic, but Peter Sagan, Wout van Aert, Sam Bennett, all in the final, potentially in the final move, is pretty realistic.
So big ups there. Philip Reynolds, you can get this. He has a page on sportsreplays.net. If you go to the homepage, click Roberto Chiavini, and then you download he has catalogs for each sport. So you download it, and then you email him. He's in Italy, so he charges by euro. So you do have to take the conversion into account. But I don't think I've ever paid more than maybe $15, and I have bought like 130 games at a time from this guy. So they're very well priced. A lot of games. There's also a Facebook group called Roberto Chiavini Games. I can actually show it to you guys really quick. So yeah, this is the group right here. I also posted this on the group, this video to this on the group. But yeah, so this is how you get it. You know what? While we're at it, since we're kind of at a good halfway point, I'm just going to show you where you go to get his games. Sports Replays. Yeah, Sports Replays Field of Dreams. Can we put generic names in like Chris, Elon, Phil? You know, you could create your own racers. It'd take a lot of work and it'd be a lot of randomization, but they kind of, doesn't provide a way to do that. But with each game, it comes with like the names of the games and stuff like that. So you go here, Roberto Chiavini Games.
Just want to say, if you guys put generic names in there, you have to put Laird Off as one of the riders. Like a Fredo.
All right, I'll move this out of the way. So yeah, Roberto. So you'll go to PayPal, send the money option, and he has this whole deal. Here's the catalog. He's got American football, athletics, swimming games, college sports games, baseball, basketball, cycling is where this one come from. He's got a golf game that I'm really interested in trying out, motorsports, Olympic. I have a soccer game of his that we have been using on the channel, and we will continue to use. I've got full Summer Olympic and Winter Olympic games from this guy. Great job. As you can see, he's got so many stuff. This is just what he released in the last month. Just so much stuff. All right. Let's go ahead and get back to the action at hand. Oops. 1 second. I need to bring the YouTube back up. Sorry about this, everybody. Give me 1 moment. Go live. Go to manage. That race has a lifetime ban. Philip Reynolds, what race are you talking about there? There we go. All right, Lord, what do you say we continue this one?
I just want to know what he meant, a lifetime ban on what race.
I'm curious too myself. All right. So a big thank you to Philip Reynolds, Amish Gaming and Tabletop Sports Delaware, for joining us in the chat today. If you're listening live or on demand, like the video, and get ready for some more awesome projects. All right, step 4 or 5. Here we go. Romain Bardet. We're looking at that outside blue die. 0 through 8. Here we go. 9. He's dropped. Romain Bardet is dropped.
I knew it. I knew this was going to happen.
And what is the weakness for Romain Bardet in this race, Laird?
This race is not hard enough for him. He has shown time again, he can't go being on a flat race like this. I mean, look at this course. I mean, if you want, zoom in on the profile and look how flat it is up until the final kilometers. He's wasting all this energy trying to stay with guys like Marcus Burkhardt, Yves Lampaert, guys that can time trial. Yves Lampaert was the former Belgian national time trial champion. He's won Cobble Classics before. He's got a powerful engine, and he's been trying to stay with them the whole freaking time. Of course he's going to get dropped.
If I'm reading it right, Philip Reynolds says that your racer, has received a lifetime ban.
I didn't do nothing.
I'm your brother. I know better. All right. Anyways, so that's it for Romain Bardet. Let's check on Marcus Burkhardt. 0 through 9 or 8. This will be a shocker. 2. He's in. Sam Bennett. Probably. It looks like Boris setting up what's called a train as Bennett is safely in there. We'll talk about a train in a second. Let's get through these rolls. Yeah, he says can't use your partner's name. He has a lifetime ban, steroids or something from Philip Reynolds. He did say putting in Elon, so he knows I'm allowed. You're the bad boy. I'm the one who keeps the rules. I'm the one who does it all. Wout van Aert in with 6. Tom Dumoulin. Why is he's actually a B? Sunweb is a B team. I'm glad I caught that. So I'm going to change that. Okie dokie. 0 through 7. Tom Dumoulin barely hanging on. 7. Yves Lampaert. Is that how you say it? Yves. 0 through 8. He's in. Peter Sagan. I will be shocked. Shocked if Sagan gets dropped. Whew. He needed a 0 through 8, and he rolls an 8.
I wouldn't have been shocked if he would have got dropped. Honestly.
That would have been completely unexpected. Let's actually do it.
I would not have been shocked if he would have gotten dropped. Like I said, this race has been kind of cursed for him.
All right, let's go ahead and see if anyone comes in on the latecomers. This is where we're going to have our final group for the stage. This is the last chance for people to jump across. Philip Reynolds just asked a question. How long does a race take? This is honestly my first time ever playing it. And I would imagine without the commentary, without the broadcast elements, you could get through this one pretty quick. I mean, you're only rolling 5 turns. I would imagine 20 minutes tops. Tops. And that's if you're just learning. All right. Rolling a D6. Here we go. 1. No additional racers. Laird, that is our group right here. One of these 6 men will win Milan-San Remo. Will be Marcus Burkhardt, Sam Bennett, Wout van Aert, Tom Dumoulin, Yves Lampaert, or Peter Sagan.
Something's telling me it's still going to be Wout van Aert.
All right. If more than one racer reached the final step of the previous, I'm reading directly from the rule book, I apologize. If one previous reacher reached the final step of the previous procedure in the same position, or if there's no breakaway, the race is resolved through a sprint. Roll two six-sided dices for each sprinter involved. Add the sprinting bonus, if any. The highest result wins the race. Second comes in second place, yada, yada, yada. All right, so I've actually got to add a D6 here. Stand by, ladies and gentlemen. The conclusion of the 2020 fictional Milan San Remo coming up. All right, these red dice, what we're watching. Here we go. First, we roll for Marcus Berghardt. What is going to be his score? Berghardt starts the sprint, gets a 42. Not a bad start for him. Sam Bennett for Bora. You know what? Time out. I am going to induct a rule here to make it more realistic. I'm making up my own rules. That's the great thing about these games. You can make up your own rules. Bora has Sam Bennett, Marcus Berghardt working for Peter Sagan. I'm going to say this right now. If Berghardt or Bennett win the race, we automatically give the victory to Sagan because the only logical reason they would be in that break with him is to build what's called the lead-out train. That is so that they can charge forward, ride as hard as they can at the front of the pack, get everybody else to work hard to keep up with them, but Sagan will be tucked, drafting off of both of them. They peel away, one by one, to launch Sagan in the last meters to sprint for the finish. Laird, what do you think of that rule?
I think it would help it be somewhat more realistic, but also it has happened where sometimes a guy just can't overcome his lead out.
All right, then in that case, it's not often, right?
It is not often.
Then what I'm going to do, in order for a lead out guy, quote unquote, lead out guy to come in before his sprinter, that guy has to roll a 6. Okay, here we go. Sam Bennett, he rolls 31. Okay, so right now, Marcus Berghardt leading the sprint, Bennett in second. Here's Wout van Aert, his move, a 31. He's not going to win this one. He is tied with Sam Bennett. He can't get around the Bora lead-out train. Here comes the move from Tom Dumoulin.
If that's the case,
34.
Won this.
Huh?
If that's the case, Sagan's just won this. It's his to win now. He just can't blow this sprint.
Dumoulin can't get around him. The only person that can... All right, additional roll for the lead-out thing. Since we're coming up, real quick, Philip Reynolds, no, he asks, this is one day of Tour de France, right? No, this is actually a completely different race. This is the very first big race on the calendar that kind of leads up to it. There are what's called 9 monuments that are ridden in the spring. Those are 9 one-day races. That's why you're seeing guys that could actually win the Tour de France. Well, at this point, one guy that can win the Tour de France in the breakaway in the sprint to try to win this thing. So this is a completely different race, but we will be having the Tour de France in July. Okay, Yves Lampard. All right, so the only way that Sagan doesn't win this, if Yves doesn't get over it, is if he is behind the slowest person on his lead out, and that's 31. Agreed?
Whatever you want to do, dude.
Yves Lampard, he rolls 45. He now takes the lead. It's either going to be Yves Lampard or Peter Sagan. Peter Sagan needs to roll a 46. He wins. If he a 43 and he wins. Or no, quick, Lampard would outsprint him either way. So he's got to roll a 46 now. Here we go. The roll. Peter Sagan wins Milan San Remo 50. And Peter Sagan, the 3-time world champion, can end the curse that has plagued him. This is the one race he could never seem to get. And today, he finally pulls through. Congratulations to the 3-time world champ. Peter Sagan in first, Yves Lampard in second, Marcus Berghardt in third, Tom Dumoulin in fourth, Sam Bennett in sixth, and Wout van Aert in sixth.
Something happened to Van Aert. Van Aert should have been able to compete with.
I think once he lost his teammate in the second step, that was it for him.
True. That very well could happen. You lose that one teammate, and then now you guys start taking turns at the front to be able to make this breakaway work. Sagan, he had not one but 2 teammates, and that made all the difference right there.
Look at that. I mean, if you look at the numbers, Yves Lampert, he got sent ahead to get, the reason why he got sent to that breakaway.
Not
The
really.
reason why. It was
He's
to probably help Alaphilippe, who never got there, he was a marked man. He was one of the, you said he was the favorite. You said he was the favorite, and you knew everyone else in the group was not going to let Alaphilippe go once we got to a certain point. Lampert was sent there to help Alaphilippe at this point, but once he's the only one there, there's nothing you can do. Anyway.
Or it could be that Alaphilippe just didn't feel good and then decided to send Zompart up the road just to see what would happen. And a second place in Milan San Remo, really good for him. He's won a few other Sinmai Classics along his career. Big claim to fame is he's a multi Belgian national time trial champion, and that's actually a pretty good result for him. Probably one of the best of his career.
All right, let's run through the top 6. Peter Sagan wins it with 50. Yves Lampert with a 45 in second. Marcus Burghardt, who almost guaranteed the victory for Sagan. It literally came down to the last person that could beat him, in third. Tom Dumoulin in fourth. Sam Bennett in fifth. And Wout van Aert in sixth. Well, first of all, before we go off the air, what do you guys think? I've got an idea that I'd love to do this. We've got 8 more races to go. That means we got to do 2 per week in order to be able to do the Tour de France or the Giro d'Italia, which is the first big stage race at the end of the Olympics, or after my Olympic project, or I may push the Olympic project out to July because that's when it really would have been.
Did you want to do the Giro the same time that they actually would have done it?
I would like to, but we're too far behind, aren't we? Because it would have started by now, right?
The Giro starts next weekend.
Yeah, so I want to do these classics so I have a grasp of these one day so I can combine the best elements of both games. So what would be, if you guys want to see more cycling, let me know in the chat room. Also give us a like if you want to see more cycling. To be quite honest, I had a lot of fun with it. I know I had a great time having Laird on. I'm leaning towards let's do the next 2 races Saturday, Sunday. Laird, what would the next 2 races be?
So in the traditional calendar, because they just released the new calendar because of the COVID thing,
there's no COVID-19 in this fictional sports universe. There's no COVID-19 in this fictional sports universe.
Traditionally, the next week would be Tour of Flanders.
Tour of Flanders.
Then the week after that would be Paris-Roubaix, which would be fun.
So we have Tour of Flanders and Paris-Roubaix. Next Saturday, Tour of Flanders. Next Sunday, Paris-Roubaix. Those are fun races because, as you mentioned, those are cobblestone races. You never know what's going to happen there. Is that correct?
Oh man, those are chaotic, and it's funny because Tour of Flanders it gets pretty chaotic, but then when you think it can't get any more chaotic, the next week Paris-Roubaix it ramps it up times a million. And also Paris-Roubaix, they called it the biggest one-day race in the world. It's like the Tour de France for one-day races. You win that, you're a legend. Just like if you were to win the Tour de France.
Imagine riding cobblestones on a bike like this. That's what we're talking about next week for the Tour de Flanders and Paris-Roubaix. I say we do it. Laird, you in?
I'm in.
All right, we're going to do it. So that's going to do it for this broadcast. Glenn Bonesteel says, great job and race. Good stuff. Well, that's going to do it. On behalf of my broadcast partner, my brother, Laird Olive, I'm Milan All saying we will see you next time the ball flies. Thank you so much, and take care. Real quick, sorry, a big thank you, of course, to everybody in the chat room. Glenn Bonesteel, Philip Reynolds, Amish Gaming, and Tabletop Sports Delaware. Thank you for joining in, and we'll talk to you next time, next week, on EO Sports Network.